What's going on, everybody? I'm Howard Bender from Fantasy Farm, and welcome to the Week 6 Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch, where players rising and falling in value become your key buy low, sell high candidates. Now, before we begin with our risers and fallers, I noticed that you're kind of eyeballing this nice little swaggy little Fantasy Alarm polo shirt. You've probably been eyeballing the hat too. FantasyAlarmStore.com is where you go and you purchase all of these items, and you too can dress like a member of the family. Now let's get to the players. Let's get to the Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch. Appreciate you all tuning in here. We'll start with the risers. Number one, how about outfielder Jacob Young of the Washington Nationals? Yeah, Jacob Young. This dude's on a 9-game hit streak right now. He's batting .438 over that span, and that's pushed his batting average for the season up to .328. More importantly, this dude has stolen 6 bases over his last 3 games, and I don't see him slowing down at all. Even if Lane Thomas comes back from the IL and the team promotes James Wood from AAA, Jacob Young playing in this kind of way is definitely going to stick as the starting center fielder. Next riser here, you can thank our good friend John Impemba from Fantasy Alarm for pointing this one out. You should check out the MLB DFS stream with John Impemba for more tips like this. But Tyler Nevin qualifies at third base and the outfield, plays for the Oakland Athletics. I know, right? A Washington National and an Oakland Athletic. Ooh, still, this is working for you. Could Tyler Nevin be this year's Brent Rooker? I mean, think about it. He's got a full-time opportunity. He's just getting into that physical prime in his age 26 season. Plus, they're batting him second in this lineup. Now, listen, it's not a great team, but batting second in this lineup and playing every day is affording him the opportunity to do what he's done. And what's he done recently? How about a 7-game hit streak, batting .345 with 3 home runs in that span? I'm not saying he's going to maintain this, but you know what? We didn't think Brent Rooker was going to maintain it, and that dude popped 30 home runs last year. Tyler Nevin, definitely a name on the rise. You want to take a look at your fantasy baseball waiver wire because I'm sure he is not owned in your fantasy leagues. And then finally here, we might as well just cap off our risers with another one from a stinker of a team. That's right, Chicago White Sox starting pitcher Eric Fedde. Wow, over the last 14 days, Fedde has made 3 starts. He's gotten 3 wins, and he's only allowed 3 earned runs with 25 strikeouts over 20 innings. Now, the caveat here is that he's faced Tampa Bay, Minnesota, and Kansas City, all 3 teams that have been struggling mightily at the plate over the last 3 weeks. So do yourself a favor. Now, coming up for Fedde, he's going to have the Cleveland Guardians, and then he's going to have the Washington Nationals. So it's not a daunting schedule. But after that, it starts to pick up. Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles, Brewers. It's not going to be pretty for Eric Fedde moving forward. So maybe get something out of him for right now as a sell high candidate. Maybe see how he does against Cleveland and Washington, and then sell him even higher in a couple of weeks. On the decline, that's right, Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch fallers. And we start with one of the hottest rookies coming into the season, and that was Jackson Chourio of the Milwaukee Brewers. Listen, this kid started off white hot, looked real nice, and we were all super psyched about what he was doing. But he's now 2 for 19 over his last 7 games. He's starting to get days off here and there. His batting average has steadily plummeted since April 10th. The dude hasn't stolen a base since April 20th. So if you can stash him away on your bench, do so. If you can buy low on him in your league and still stash him away until he heats back up, maybe that's the way to go. You know, listen, without Christian Yelich in the middle of that lineup, this Brewers lineup has gotten a little bit shaky. So make sure you take a look there. Jackson Chourio right now falling in value. Also falling in value here is Michael Busch, first baseman for the Chicago Cubs. Cubs in a very similar situation as the Brewers. When Cody Bellinger went down with the fractured rib, this whole lineup has kind of gone into the tank a little bit. Michael Busch in particularly here, 8 for 41, which is 195 since his 6-game home run streak that he had, right? And he's only had 1 extra base hit in that time. So Right now, it's not looking good for Michael Busch. The value is kind of low. I'd stash him away if you can. Maybe find another first baseman or corner infielder to help carry you. I wouldn't drop him just yet unless you absolutely have to. And then finally, our last faller, it's relief pitcher Griffin Jax from the Minnesota Twins. Joan Duran has just been activated from the IL, so he is going to come back in and he's going to start taking all of those save opportunities for the Minnesota Twins. Now, one thing I will say, if you play in a saves plus hold league, well, then keep Griffin Jax because he's got great value. He's contributing with strikeouts and he's keeping the ratios low. So if you do count saves plus holds, make sure that you hold on to him. Now, if you don't and it's strictly saves, I would give it another week. Watch what happens with Duran. How many times have we seen guys come off the IL only to go right back on because they got rushed? Now, I don't think Minnesota has rushed Duran too much, but you never know with these oblique issues. So kind of just hold Griffin Jax. If you're in a saves league, just hold him until Duran starts notching saves regularly, and then you can let him go. Listen, I've got a full article with even more details over at fantasyalarm.com. So do yourself a favor, get over there to fantasyalarm.com and get the rest of the information and all the other fantasy baseball help that we provide you guys. We do an amazing job over there. I like to brag about the group, and I have every right to. So for that, now here's the Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch. I'm Howard Bender, and we'll catch you next time.